Hey there, my gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful queen bees. It is your girl Amanda the Buzz Artist, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, I just felt the need to make a cake. I don't know what it is, but I've just had this hankering to paint this chocolate strawberry cake. Now, my husband usually gets these country living magazines. It's like this big cooking magazine, and they had this picture of strawberry chocolate cake. I could not take my eyes off of it. So I decided to embody it and actually make a painting from it. This is what we're all about. As an artist, you can look at something, get inspired by it, and then just go ahead and practice your art skills on it. So I just grabbed a colored pencil that's similar to the color of the cake that I want to do, which is kind of like a pink, and then just sketched out a rough estimate of where all the shapes for the cake are going to be. And then I went ahead and gathered a few colors. In particular, I have a chocolate brown, a scarlet red, a titanium white, and that particular color there is a papaya whip. This is from the Arteza Outdoor paint brand colors that I had around to make this. So you got that kind of unique looking little color there. And so I just started first off with a number 2 round brush and proceeded to create the frosting of the cake. Now I wanted it to be kind of like a dusty pink, and I've been really into that color lately. Call it being a mom of a girl and wanting to decorate her room but not make it so like stupid pink, but I wanted it to be like this dusty pink, so it kind of has some earthy tones to it. I started off with that by mixing a little bit of white with that papaya whip color with the red. Now, if you don't have that papaya whip, you can probably do with some unbleached titanium white. That'll do the trick, or you can just go with some yellow mixed with white, and that should kind of get you a similar looking color. And then to make the chocolate colors, I mixed the chocolate brown that I had with a little bit of the red, because I feel like when you look at chocolate, there actually are some red tints in it. So I decided to play with that color. Plus, just a tidbit for any artist out there, or especially if you're beginning with painting, you're going to want to stick with a limited number of colors and use those colors over and over again throughout the entire painting so that it looks harmonious and that the colors all kind of meld together. That's kind of like the secret behind painting something that looks very harmonious and like it all belongs there, it doesn't stand out too much. You're using all the same colors in the palette, just in different variations and mixes. Really what I'm just doing is taking my brush, I dip it into the red with just like a tiny bit of brown, and painting in my strawberries, and then adding in the shadows with that chocolate brown, and then going in and making the highlights. So I kind of block things out and do a certain method when I'm making my paintings. First start out by color blocking. I block everything that I want in terms of the general color. So like the cake body was like that general pink. The top of the cake was a bit more light pink, so I add more white to it. Parts that have shadows, I add that with the color of the brown, and then I block in the color of the strawberries as well as the chocolate layers of the cake. And then what I do is I go in and start adding in the color values. I go a little bit more into this in my Magic of Acrylics class on Skillshare. I'll link that in the description below. But we talk about color values and how you can use that to create a much more realistic looking painting. And in this case here, that's kind of what we're doing. We're utilizing highlights and shadows and midtones and making them all work together to create a more cohesive piece. So you saw that I blocked in the colors of the strawberries, then I added in another tone that had a bit more of a yellow to it, and that represents like the midtones of the strawberry, and then I added in white portions that are supposed to be like the highlights, the light that's hitting on the very, very tops of the strawberry. And then I went also and added in the little dots in the strawberries using that same brown color. Now notice I'm not even using any black in this at all, and that's for a really good reason. I honestly do believe you really don't need to use black when you're making something a bit more realistic. Of course, if you're doing a more stylized approach, you can go with black, because y'all know I do love my pop art. But in the case of doing something that's a bit more realistic, like this cake, I'm trying to experiment more with the natural colors, like the brown and the primary colors, mixing those together and seeing what happens. And you just get this beautiful plethora of colors that just seem much more real and earthy. And now you'll also notice too that I'm constantly adding layers. I talk about this almost in every single tutorial that I do, but I honestly do believe that layers are the magic piece behind every painting that I do. Because if you think that a perfect painting just has one layer and that's it, you'd be sadly mistaken. A lot of paintings where you're kind of going for a more realistic one has a lot of layers to it. There's a lot of buildup to it, and that's important to know, that as you're color blocking and figuring things out, that it's okay that it looks kind of weird as you're developing it. It may not look completely right to you while you're in the middle of painting, and that's totally normal. And guys, this is seriously such a fun painting to do, and I kind of want to do more of these. So what other food paintings would you like for me to do? Comment below and let me know, and I just might do a nice little tutorial just like this one for y'all. You can see here I started painting in the plate that the big cake as well as the small cake is resting on. So I started out with a white that's just mixed in with a little bit of brown and red. And from there, I started making the highlights. So I added in that white along the rim of the bowl, and then added in that brown with a bit of white on the underside to represent the hard shadow of that plate. And I kind of repeated that. So I made a cake stand for the big cake because, well, presentation. And plus, I like being bougie like that, just having a little bit of a presentation factor there. But you can see here I'm kind of experimenting and going back and forth with the use of shadows and highlights, and being sure to understand where are my highlights, where are my shadows, where is the light hitting, so that I can put the highlights and the shadows where I want to put them. This was incredibly fun to do. It's a bit more of a free flow, like semi, ever so slightly, and I use semi so liberally in this case. I'm kind of using a more broader brush stroke when making this painting, and I think it kind of worked out for me. I was really into this kind of style. I think I want to use more of it in the future because of just how loose it is and how much I was learning along the way. So guys, what did you think of this painting? Have you tried making a painting of food before? What's your favorite food that you'd like to paint? Comment below, let me know. I always love to hear from you, my darling, gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful queen bees. So I hope this video inspired you to create your very own painting of something that you love very dearly. And if you do make a painting of one of your favorite foods, take a picture and tag me on Instagram and let me know what you did, because I love to see your artwork. I always think it's so inspiring to see other artists putting their work out there, because really the only way you're going to learn and get better at art is to make them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!